Okay, that's better. Hey! Throwing a mass of flesh bubbles. Three such creatures sit around the table in front of me. Can you hear me fine, by the way? Over the game now? Slurping filthy sludge from their cups as they trade whines, growls, and sounds that I cannot describe. Again. What the fuck am I looking at? Damn, that's what my room looks like. By listening carefully, I am able to grasp the gist of their conversation and respond when it is required of me. This is necessary to avoid arousing their suspicion. However, these creatures look, they are my friends apparently. Is that me? Wish that I could still deny it, but I gave up on that a long time ago. Night after night I went to sleep praying for an end to this nightmare, only to wake each morning to the same twisted hellscape as the day before. I know now that I have to blend in, that I have to act like one of them. Such has been my life these past 3 months, and so it will remain until the day I die. Give me 1 minute. Let me grab something to drink. I think my mouth is dry. And if I'm gonna be reading for like 2-3 hours, I need it. So hold on. Aloha. Grab the water and a Coke. Coke Zero. Judging by its tone, this one must be Koji. The next one next to him, screaming more than the others, is probably Omi. Which means that the one next to me is Yo. Though I can no longer see any trace of her once attractive features, I try my best to ignore the rotten stench of excrement that issues from her quivering flesh. Koji, Omi, and Yo. In a classroom, because this guy's just mentally insane and sees people like monsters. Got it. Everything has changed, almost everything. By some cruel trick of fate, my relationship to the world alone remains the same, as if an insane architect took the blueprints of my life and rebuilt it out of blood and gore. These monsters and I were part of the same college club. We started together and together. We even went skiing together every winter break. Now these are but painful memories of days that will never return. If only no one recognized me, I might have been able to disconnect myself from the world. It would have been comforting in comparison to believe that I had been abducted by aliens, or that I had stumbled through a gateway to hell. You know, this is beyond a doubt the city where I was born and raised. The society that I was part of for 20 years, save that I, and I alone, can no longer see it that way. The world as I knew it is gone. I have no place to call home. Anyway, I can tell that whatever they're discussing is of no importance to me. I decide to keep quiet while pretending to listen. But just then... Hey, Fuminori! One of the flesh beasts says as it swivels its bloodshot eyes towards me. What do you think? About what? tried desperately to suppress my loathing and behave normally, but my hoarse voice ruins the attempt. We're talking about this year's ski trip. You're coming too, right? The slimy hole near the top of the creature arrives nauseatingly as it vomits some resemblance of words. That must be Koji's face. What I would have seen as such 3 months ago. Unable to stomach the sight of it, I avert my eyes and give a neutral answer. I don't know. Do you have other plans? Not really. These were my closest companions. One of them had even wished to be more. Many nights have I spent crying in loneliness, lamenting the friends who no longer exist. In 3 months my tears ran dry. Now there's only loathing left in me, surrounded by hideous creatures that I can only assume are Koji, Omi, and Yo. I spend each day trying to act as I always have. If I fail at this, I'll surely be sent back to the hospital. It's not like physical activity could affect your injuries, right? I'm not sure I'll ask the doctor during my checkup, that's it. I can't look at them or bear their screeching any longer. I jump to my feet, desperate to escape. This is how I view the world, by the way. Hey Fuminori. A spray of stringy slime from the cilia around his voice box flies at me. I try to cover myself, but too late to keep the slime from splattering across my face like the yolk of a rotten egg. I'm about to lose it. I want to grab a chair, a desk, anything within reach and use it to smash the life out of this creature, ending it all. I barely suppress the impulse. I must not let on that something is wrong. However they look at me, this is their world. I'm the outsider here. Too real. Like I said, today's my checkup. I gotta go. Struggling to put on a smile, I reach into my wallet, pull out the first bill I find, and put it on the table without even looking at it. I don't care about the change, I just need to get out of here. What? Oh, he's in the cafeteria. Why is there a picture of a classroom, then? Oh wait, no, never mind. I see that there's chairs around in a circle. Didn't notice that before. I'm not crazy. That's what a crazy person would say. Says Takahata. Omi Tsukuba Yo frowns at the suggestion. So Omi is the girl, Yo is the guy. Or what? No, they're both girls, sorry. Cute reading game. Ayaya, ayaya. Weeps in, ayaya. So the guy is Koji. The two girls are Yo and Omi. Tono Koji supports Omi with a laugh. Her impromptu suggestions are nothing new, and it's Koji's role as her boyfriend to provide backup. So Omi and Koji are boyfriend and girlfriend? So me and Yo should, totally. Alright, enjoy. I'll just be here reading this apparently scary horror weeping. Good luck with your work, Mr. Nero. I'll try not to yell the N-word. You scared? Me too. They're a good match for each other, Yo thinks. Sometimes it makes her jealous. I mean, she had seriously never. She had seriously never gone skating.
Black Knight.
Whoa, Nero, come on, man. Why would you say that? Fucking racist. She'd seriously never gone skating before. I took her the other day. Oh my god. Booba.
容量はスキーとそう変わるもんじゃないからな。重心を前に出して
靴の前のヘリでコントロールする感覚とか。
コウジにそう言われたもんだからさ、騙されたと思ってやってみたわけよ。そうしたらもう楽しくって。
So it was a date. Yo feels a stab of envy. Oh my god, Yo. Koji and Naomi enjoy their time together as normal lovers do. That's certainly not something that should make you jealous. It's just that her luck in love has been bad.
私も見てみたいな。大見ちゃんがスケートやるところ。
Keeps her voice upbeat, trying to cover up her disquiet. She knows that it's wrong to envy her friends. She too would be spending time with the man she admires if not for the terrible tragedy that befell him. His is true misfortune. Her bad luck doesn't begin to compare.
だからさ、ね、今度のスキー旅行、ついでにスケート旅行にしちゃえば2倍美味しく楽しいってわけよ。でもさ、スケートはスケートリンクに行けばできるじゃない。わざわざスキー場に行ってまでやる？だから屋内じゃなくてさ、屋外スケート、凍った湖とかで滑れるところ。
She talking about ice skating? Okay, I thought they were talking about the other type of skating, like skateboards.
そんな都合のいいとこあるかな。なんだかすっごく混んでそう。
While speaking, Yo sneaks a sideways glance at the young man sitting next to her. Although the conversation has involved only 3 people so far, there are in fact 2 couples at the cafeteria table. Yo's boyfriend, though there's still some doubt over whether he could be called that, is beside her as silent, expressionless as a statue.
なあ、ふみのり。お前はどう思う？
Is that the same guy who asked me before?
どうって。
Because of Yo's distress, Sakisaka Fuminori responds to Koji's sudden query with a vague, mumbled question of his own.
いや、だからさ、今年の冬のスキーだよ。お前も行くよな。
Koji speaks gingerly, as though probing a tumor a few months ago, he would not have hesitated to rebuke Fuminori for his attitude. His long acquaintance had forged a strong and honest friendship, but now...
わからない。
I don't know. Fuminori responds bluntly, his downcast eyes and sullen demeanor making it clear that he has no desire to break his silence. You have plans.
別に。
And Koji, Fujimori's best friend, cannot communicate with him as before. What hope does Yo have of breaking through his shell? The scars left by the events of that late summer day are still deep all these months later. Each one of the 4 bears them, not only Fuminori.
なあ、別に運動するのが傷に触るとかそういうわけでもないんだろ？
So did he get like a brain injury?
どうだろうな。今日の診療で先生に聞いてみ
So
た。
that answer drained the last of his patience. Fuminori bolts out of his chair.
ふみのり。
Hey, Fuminori. Even Koji can't keep his voice from rising as he tries to stop Fuminori from leaving. Fuminori reacts swiftly, throwing his hand over his face as though to shield himself from something terrifying. Maybe some spit flew inadvertently from Koji's mouth. But that happens sometimes. Fuminori's reaction is beyond the pale.
だから今日も診療なんだ。もう時間だから。
Fuminori snaps, making no attempt to relieve the discomfort of his friends. Today's my checkup, I have to go. Even as he tosses money on the table to pay for his coffee, he acts like he's touching something filthy. Later. Stalks out of the cafeteria almost as if he's running away. Cloaked in heavy silence, the remaining 3 lower their gaze to the table where the abandoned 10,000 yen bill sways forlornly. Fuminori's coffee is untouched.
やってられないわね。
Omi says with a sigh, but Koji shakes his head. Fuminori just needs a little more time, but it's been 3 months.
なんなのよあれ。ス 付き合ってるこっちが変になりそうよ。
俺だってわからない。わかるはずもないと思う。お前だって想像つくか。あんなひどい形で家族全員を奪われて
He lost his whole family.
平気でいられるわけないよ。
Could happen to anyone. A tractor trailer flipped over on a highway, crushing the Sakisaka family car into twisted scrap. It said it had been difficult to tell the bodies of Fuminori's parents apart. For a while it had looked as if there was no hope for Fuminori either. It was nothing short of a miracle that he was able to leave the hospital and return to normal life.
見舞いに行った時なんてもっとひどかったじゃないか。
It was worse when we went to see him in the hospital, remember? He was terrified of us.
暴れて
But he didn't know who we were. He even had to be tied to the bed. He freaked out so bad.
今はよくあそこまで立ち直ってくれたと思う。
それにしたって変よ、咲坂くん。私たちのこと見る目つき、あれ何なの？
よせ、近江。
Cut it out, Koji says, forcefully. Probably less out of empathy for his friend than out of consideration for Yo. While Koji's kindness makes her happy, Yo also knows that she mustn't take advantage of it. Fuminori's the victim, as Koji said. He's the one who most deserves sympathy. Yo's feelings for Fuminori are her problem and no one else's. She doesn't blame Fuminori for not giving her an answer after she worked up the courage to ask him out. In fact, she thinks even more fondly of him for taking the time to consider than she would have had he treated their relationship casually. Apparently the fact that Fuminori did not reject her was enough to make them a couple in Koji and Omi's eyes. We've had plenty of fun at Yo and Fuminori's expense since. The truth of it, though, is that he still hasn't given her an answer. After revealing her feelings to him, Yo didn't see Fuminori again until a week later, and then she could only stare at his broken body through the window of the ICU. When he was finally released after 50 days that seemed an eternity, he was somehow different. She's starting to doubt that he even remembers what she confessed to him before the accident. Now winter is coming, and her feelings hang forgotten in the cold, lonely air. Dr. Tanbo Ryoko has never had a more troublesome patient. Oh my god. I lost. Oh my god. Mommy. Oh my god. Or later. She can fix me too. Oh my god.
いいえ、別だ。これといって問題もなく。
His voice is hard and flat, his words tossed carelessly into the air. It's like he's speaking to himself in an empty room. Yoko is a surgeon, not a psychiatrist, but even she can sense the thickness of the wall he has erected between himself and the world. Yeah, I got plenty of things that are erected right now. Holy mother of... Alright. T-Tours. Bro is question marking like he wouldn't stick his cock between those thighs. Are you serious, bro? She can cross my head with that. This is worse than the Final Fantasy stream. What's up, Mr. Leo? That's me as well right now. Holy mother of God. Rip my friend's sanity. Are we talking about the main character friend or me? Maybe I'll lose my sanity too. Also, why have I never VIP'd you? There we go. Me? Yeah, I'm losing my sanity from not having my head crushed by those watermelon fires. Oh my god. While Sakisaka appears to be looking at Ryoko, his gaze is actually aimed at a fraction down and to the side. He's only superficially engaged in the conversation when in truth it does not interest him in the slightest perfect rejection. I mean, I'm looking down and to the side as well, but, you know, to the right. Oh my god. Realizing that she can't interview him like this, Ryoko sighs and sets her chart aside.
あなたが当院で受けた処置は脳神経医学の分野では世界的に最先端の治療でした。そのことはご存知ですよね。
Treatment of subdural hematoma through the use of micro machines, a procedure available in Japan exclusively here at what does the T stand for? Trans University? Had been the only way to save Sakisaka Fuminori from a cerebral contusion that should have been fatal.
最先端であるということは、まだまだデータの出揃っていない危険性の伴う治療法だったという意味でもあります。
そうでしょうね。
Sakisaka Fuminori's lips twist slightly in what might be a bitter or mocking smile, but it is gone before Ryoko can discern its meaning.
普通こんなことを言って脅かすのは
Phi University? Oh my god. I wanna go there too. Normally I would never say anything to frighten a
施
patient.
術後に重大な脳障害をきたしたケースも報告されているんです。予後の経過には十分に注意しなければなりません。
Hence these weekly checkups, if only he would take them a little more seriously.
先週の MRI はどうでした？
How was last week's MRI? Sakisaka asked abruptly, as if to catch Ryoko off guard. MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, is a way for doctors to examine the brain in detail without opening the patient's skull. Surprised by Sakisaka's uncommon technical knowledge, Ryoko recalls his profile. I feel like most people know what an MRI scan is.
そういえばあなたも医者の卵だったわね。
先生が心配しているような脳機能不全は
What's the premise of this game?
十分にわかるはずですよね。
The only thing I know is weeb visual novel, which you've already seen, and that it's psychological horror, which I don't know if you were here at the very beginning before you wrote, but he's like, he sees people as like weird gore creatures or whatever, and he can't understand any of them unless they're like directly talking to him, but it sounds weird even then. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know what I'm in for. The medical student, kind of anomaly you're worried about, should show up in the MRI. Did you find anything? No. There was nothing, not the slightest hint of abnormal activity. For a procedure with such a low rate of success, the results have been nothing short of miraculous. However, something still bothers Ryoko. She can't shake the feeling that he's hiding something beneath his guarded exterior, some terrible weight on his soul, perhaps. But if it's an inorganic problem, then there's nothing she can do as long as he refuses to explain it.
大丈夫ですよ、先生。
大丈夫、先生。
現に僕は今こうして病院の外でも何不自由なく生活しています。問題なんてないでしょ。
Why is he lying?
ねえ咲坂さん、こういった難しい手術は予後不断な原則なんです。
そうですよね。僕だって先生方を信用したい。どんな相談にも乗ってもらえるんですか？
ええ、もちろん。
Also, why doesn't he see her as a creature? Yes, of course, Ryoko answers, smiling to cover up her irritation. Sakisaka asked exactly the same question during last week's visit. Let's
先
pick
週の
up.
話の続きなんですが、
Probable.
あれから大貝教授については何か分かりましたか？
Unable to answer, Ryoko hardens the mask of her smile. Before the patient is inquiring about someone whom he has no business
大
knowing.
貝教授のことは、あなたの治療とは何の関係もないでしょ。
信頼しろと言った矢先にいきなり隠し事ですか？
Ryoko Ryoko's used to patients treating her with hostility. Some degree of paranoia is natural when dealing with a person whose mistakes could kill you. In Sakisaka, however, she doesn't see the anxiety that other patients exhibit. His demeanor is perfectly calm, almost like a detective questioning a suspect.
だいぶ前にここを辞められた方ですからね。私個人としても交流があったわけではないし。
辞めた理由はご存知ない。
ええ、おそらく個人的な事情でしょうね。
Ryoko answers smoothly, her earlier hesitation gone. Having decided at the outset to lie, she has no trouble doing so with a straight face.
でも、咲坂さん、なぜあなたはそんなに大貝教授にこだわるんです？
教授は今失踪中なんです。
いいえ。
Ryoko realizes that her answer may have been a little too quick. She should have acted more
一度は
surprised.
教授の身内の人間と恋にしていましたね。その人から調査を頼まれているんです。
Relative Ryoko considers this with a
大
frown.
貝教授に縁者の方はおられないはずですが、それは噂話に。
I heard it from a nurse, Ryoko replies, remembering that she just claimed to have had no contact with the man.
そんなことが噂になる程度には、大貝教授は有名人だったわけですね。
まあ、一風変わった人だったみたいですね。
なのに、誰も彼が大学を辞めた理由を知らないと。
Ryoko falls silent, knowing that this isn't a topic she can brush away with a smile. Sakisaka seems to have finally grasped her mood, however, as his strangely stiff tone softens a little.
先生、僕はどうしても大貝教授に会わなきゃならないんです。彼がいなくなったせいで、行く当てがなくなり困っている子がいるんです。
それはむしろ警察の領分なんじゃないかしら。
Though she makes it sound like the most obvious thing in the world, the suggestion is actually a gamble. If Ogai Masahiko's disappearance becomes a police matter, then the university will be investigated. Everyone who was involved in the incident will be at risk of exposure. But what did he do? It includes Ryoko herself. Note, however, that Sakisaka is unlikely to go to police. First of all, his excuse is obviously a lie. They already made sure that Ogai had no relatives who might come looking for him, which is why they could bury the truth of what happened. And how did Sakisaka, a mere patient, learn about
咲
Ogai?
坂さん、私の知っている範囲のことは
Yeah, but help it
喜ん
isn't.
でお教えします。
No word.
ですが、
Since
大
last
貝教
April.
授は今年の4月に辞表を出して、以後は何の音信もないんです。どこか長期の旅行にでも行かれたか。その程度しか。
そうですか。
Expecting assistance, Ryoko is surprised when Sakisaka backs down. She's still worried about his condition. Even the mysterious link between him and Ogai is only making her more uneasy. But as long as he doesn't open up to her, there's nothing she can do. After a brief pause, Ryoko writes "Progress good" on Sakisaka's chart for today.
咲坂さん、それでは来週の診察ですが、今日と同じ4時でも。
That's so me. He's literally me. Okay, maybe she did look weird from his POV. Maybe we were just seeing her POV because we were hearing her thoughts also. Looks like someone sprayed the walls with pig guts from ceiling to floor. Color should the walls of a hospital be? White, of course. And to the creatures of rotten flesh shambling around me, I'm sure this hallway looks just as white as it should. I know intellectually that the walls are white. I know that the flesh beasts are actually really human. I'm the one with the problem. It's because I've accepted this that I'm able to lead something approaching a normal life. Even if my university's medical department is nowhere near as good as Phi universities, I'm still a medical student specializing in neurology. I have a basic idea of what has happened to me, though it's hard to believe. This isn't a pathological condition, it's probably some form of agnosia, unlike anything that has ever been studied before. A flesh beast called Tenbo Ryoko said that other patients had developed neurological disorders after receiving the same treatment I did, so I guess I'm just another failure. It makes me want to laugh in that know-it-all's doctor's face. That said, I don't blame the doctors who operated on me. After all, I do owe them my life. I know as well as anyone how low the chance of success was and that I had no other hope of survival. was unlucky. That's all there is to it. The point is that my condition isn't treatable, just like someone adapting to a hearing aid or a wheelchair. I have no choice but to adapt to this nauseating scenery. Of course it's hard. It wasn't easy to resign myself to this fate. But now there's more than just despair. Even for me there's a glimmer of hope. Keeping my eyes on my feet, I hurry home. Live in a quiet suburban neighborhood, in a house that's much too large for me alone. My parents, even unluckier than I was, died in an accident 3 months ago. I couldn't even go to the funeral for being in intensive care. I had to sell my father's business, but at least that left me with the house and enough money to live on for a while. Of course I'm sad, but the accident took more from me than my parents. In fact, being on my own has probably saved me. This art... But you don't like it? Oh, what did I just press? There we go. You don't, This is how I see the world, by the way. Rotten. I'm literally Light Yakami. We need to kill every single bad person in this world. And then the world will look better. If they were still alive, my parents would never have allowed me to live with some strange girl. What? Monka Omega? Okaeri! As I open the door, a bright voice greets me from the kitchen. The voice is beautiful and clear as a bell, human. Its sweet sound washes the day's cacophony from my memory. I'm home, Saya. Listening? Least. Exactly. You know how it is, Mr. Leo. Even the patter of feet coming down the hallway is music to my ears. Nowhere else in the city can I hear such footsteps. Only in this house with Saya am I so privileged. Is this the government mandated Connie wife? Maybe this guy's just living in the future. You're late, I was worried. Sorry I had to stop by the hospital there. But that's the day. And a smile in the inquisitive tilt of her head is everything that I have lost. Since my accident, this girl is the only person I've met. Perhaps the only person in the entire world who does not trigger my cognitive disorder. True, her skin seems too white and the color of her eyes and hair is probably different in reality, but even so, her form is undeniably human. It's not just her appearance and her voice either. As I bend down to take off my shoes, Saya wraps her arms around my neck and pulls me gently into her tiny bosom. Her skin feels truly human, not cold or slimy, and from her hair wafts a sweet feminine fragrance into her tiny bosom. Right. Nice writing. In all the world, only Saya is pleasing to my 5 senses. What's more, she smiles at me, embraces me. She knows that she's my salvation, and for some reason is happy that I need her. If I had not met Saya, if I had been all alone in this twisted, filth-ridden world, I would no doubt have succumbed to madness. It is no exaggeration to say that Saya alone is keeping me alive. Amen, brother. Amen. After I see the humming Saya off to the kitchen, I step into the living room. What the fuck? I realized one day that if the natural colors of the world were sickening, all I had to do was paint over them with colors that seemed pleasant. I went to the hardware store and bought every color of paint I could find. Then Saya and I tried different combinations until we found one that worked. After painting the bedroom from ceiling to floor, I was finally able to get my first good night's sleep since the accident. When we first started in the living room, Saya, unsure what to do with the curtains, painted carefully around the windows. Without a moment's hesitation, I tore the curtains down and painted over the glass itself. There'll never be anything out there that I'd want to see. And as long as we keep the storm shutters closed, the neighbors probably won't think anything of it.
ご飯できた。
こっちで食べよう。持ってきてくれるか？
She enters the living room with a tray of food. Saya sniffs the
元
air.
気の匂い。
The paint smell doesn't bother you? Now that she mentions it, I suppose the smell of paint thinner must be building up in this closed room. Doesn't really bother me though. There are far worse smells outside.
嫌いかい？
平気。海苔が大丈夫ならいい。
Saya sets the food on the table. Unfortunately, neither its color nor its smell is at all appetizing. Not that food elsewhere is any
いただ
different.
きます。
As has become routine, I steel myself and methodically transport the food into my mouth. The taste is as gut-wrenching as I expected, but it's not Saya's fault. I'm sure she made it exactly like the cooking show said. It's just that my taste buds can't accept it.
美味しくない？
Maybe he needs to eat human flesh. Lying won't make Saya happy. She knows about my condition.
気にしないで。明日はまた別のものを作ってあげるから。
ごめんな、いつもの。
いいのよ。こうやっていろいろ試していけば、いつか海苔でも美味しく食べられるメニューが見つかるかもしれないじゃない。
My current state, eating is nothing more than an unwelcome duty. As much as I hate it, I need food to survive. If I stay alive, then perhaps one day, as Saya says, I'll be able to taste something delicious again. I met Saya, didn't I?
私はもう済ましたから。
And all the time we've been together, Saya has never once eaten with me. I don't know why she refuses to do so. It makes me a little sad. Still, I'm not about to push the issue. Not when she's putting up with all the problems I
そう
have.
いえば、今日もう一度病院で君のお父さんのこと聞いてみた。
パパの？
Oh. It's her papa. Dr. Orgai Masahiko is Saya's father, and her only living relative. Saya has asked me to unravel the mystery of his disappearance.
やっぱり何も教えてくれない。何か隠している雰囲気なんだな。
そう。
Expected Saya to be a little more disappointed.
心配じゃないのかい？お父さんのこと。
そういうわけじゃないの。
No, Saya responds with an unreadable expression. It's not that. Gives a little shake of her head, then smiles at me once again.
ありがとう、海苔。私のためにいろいろと。
君はそれ以上のことを僕のためにしてくれるんだ。
Thank you for the meal and set my chopsticks down next to the perfectly clean plate. As wretched as the taste was, thinking of the care that Saya put into it gave me the strength to finish every bite.
じゃあ、お風呂にする？
Oh my god, am I about to be banned? Ever since Saya moved in, it's been like having my own wife. Am I about to be banned? Alright, if you're under the age of... Never mind. If you're over the age of 18, then look away. Because I think we're about to see Connie titties. Maybe. Saya, why are you so good to... Oh my god! Alright. You could have told me that was in there. I didn't actually expect that. Oh my god. Alright, we're keeping the display capture off until this scene is over. Oh, I forgot to take off the starting soon. Oops. Share it with the world? Bro, I don't want to be banned. I'll describe the scene. Saya's slender hips bounce up and down with an insatiable hunger, each descent thrusting my manhood deep into her embrace of her hot, tight womb.
いいの。すごい。熱い。奥まで。
Who could imagine that her seemingly incorruptible body would ever glisten with the hot sweat of passion or feast on pleasure with such bottomless lust? Sire, my darling sire, is this really what you want? Why do you go so far from me? What am I that you can give yourself to me body and soul?
ふみのり、もっと付き合えて奥に
What the?
当てるの。
More Fuminori, harder. It's so deep. Is this merely sympathy? Do you pity me, the exile from society? Is that enough for you to surrender yourself to such mad desire? Are you so wanton?
みのり、すごくいい。お願い、もっとめちゃくちゃにして。
Yes, please give me more.
私、もうおかしくなっ
I'm going mad. Her eyes, as she gazes down upon me, are devoid of twisted or sinful desire. What? I would call this sinful desire. They're only the melting flames of ecstasy. Her beautiful carnal moans and undulating body seem impossible, dreamlike, and I cannot help but wonder if even the pleasure searing my flesh is but an illusion. Oh my god. Alright, if you want to see this picture, you got... Look at the stream. I'm flashing this for 1 second. Needing to reassure myself that she's real, I raise my hands to her breasts and seize them like my life depends on it. Saya convulses, screaming like an animal as I roll her sharp pink nipples through my fingers. She throws her head back and gasps for air.
いい。ふみのり、バラバラになっちゃいそう。
Ah yes, Fuminori, I'm going to pieces. Saya is here, she's with me now. Only in this moment is her existence certain. Only when I am joined with her can I believe.
ふみのり、中にちょうだい。私の内側にふみのりのちょうだい。
No, Leo. Inside, please come inside, I want you in me. I nod and accelerate the pace of my thrusts. Saya's gasps rise in pitch as her mad dance of passion reaches its peak. Oh my god!
ふみのり、ねえ、一緒に。
This picture, bro, this is literal fucking hentai. Alright. You got 1 second to see this. Are you guys ready? Oh my god. Dude, look at his head when you look. What the fuck? No matter what cruel fate might await me, sire, there's nothing I fear more than losing you. Integral to the plot. I think so too. As Saya climaxes, convulsing and wailing, I surrender to her tight embrace and unleash my boiling seed into her womb. Nero, I don't know if you're still here, but what the fuck? Oh my god. Ah, so hot, Fuminori. Saya collapses atop me, still smiling, and I wrap my arms around her. The feeling of her soft, sweat-soaked skin and the warmth emanating from her body reassure me that she's still here. Welcome to the stream. You just missed some really and a really important scene. Forehead. Oh, far. Fuminori, are you crying? I realize that my cheeks are wet with tears.
なぜ僕にここまでしてくれる?
Why, Saya? Why did you go so far from me? Fuminori.
わからない僕だ
I think I can show it.
どんどん君に惹かれていく
Hopefully this shit doesn't
耐えられなくなって
Hopefully they don't randomly show a fucking picture of her full of cum. I wrap my arms tighter around her, praying that our bodies will melt together and never again be apart. Tell me please, what must I do to keep you with me? How can I repay you?
僕は何をすればいい？どうやって君に報いればいい？
The screen was black because randomly they jumped to a fucking sex scene. And it was very graphic. Oh my god. Is this why I'm playing this? Number 9? Is this why you want me to play this? Keep holding me, Saya whispers into my chest. I want you to make love to me. I want to stay like this forever. I won't leave you for Minoru. Why me? Because you're all alone, she says softly, gazing up into my eyes. All alone, just like me. The sorrow in her voice resonates with my own. I swear to God, this is not a porn game. I swear to God. I thought I was driving the man to a gem and mineral show. They won't ban me until they finish? True. Fuck it, it's just nipples, right? I won't be banned. You're all I have in the whole wide world. Now I know, no matter what horrors of this world unleashes upon me, all I've ever needed is Saya. Alright, can we get back to the actual plot now? Jesus. Yo is determined to talk to him today. Nothing will happen as long as she hesitates. It will only prolong her suffering. The time has come to show courage once again. I'm definitely deleting this VOD after. Jesus Christ. I'm not... Do I click that? Why do you use ip.co? Alright, buddy. I already knew. I knew it was something. That's why I was debating. You know what? It's not even as bad as what I showed on stream a second ago. It's fine. I'm deleting the bot anyway. That was the plot. Any truers? What's that emote? There we go. Those 4th period on Thursdays is biology. This is her one chance to see Fuminori. As a required course with many students, the lecture is held in a large hall that can seat well over 200. But since the room is usually only half full, it is really difficult for Yo to find the seat she wants. Are you like a minute behind? How are you laughing so late? Yo prefers to sit near the center, where it is easiest to hear the professor, and most of the students congregate in this area for the same reason. Minori usually sits behind her. Although given the ambiguous state of their relationship, she knows better than to take this for granted. Still, she tries to save a seat whenever possible. The classroom isn't crowded today, so Yo is able to set her bag on the seat next to her without inconveniencing anyone. When the professor arrives at the usual double-stuck class, there's still no sign of Fuminori. After waiting for about 10 minutes, Yo scans the room furtively. Fuminori is there, sitting alone in the far back corner. Did you miss Yo when he came in? No, he couldn't have, and besides, no serious student would willingly sit so far away from the front. Feeling miserable, Yo slides her bag back over to herself. Fuminori is out the door the moment class ends. You know what, I want to say I expected like a bath scene earlier, but it was just straight up fucking hentai. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we blasted gore. Or your friend did, or whatever. Naked Downy, I don't remember that. Minori is out the door at the moment class ends. Yo barely manages to catch up to him before he disappears down the hallway.
坂さん
Minori jerks at the sound. Jerks? At the sound of his name. You think she just screamed at him? But he turns to her and asks reluctantly. Now that they are face to face, Yo is painfully aware of how much weight Fuminori has lost. His sunken eyes and protruding cheekbones are a far cry from the features familiar to her. She wonders whether he is under a lot of stress or perhaps not getting enough nutrition. Maybe it's both. Definitely looks more tense than he should. Afraid even, though of what she can't imagine. His eyes move restlessly from point to point, and he refuses to look Yo in the eye. First to see Fuminori this way, what could have changed him so? Today she reminds herself, rekindling the flame of courage in her heart.
お話があるんです。ちょっといいですか？
Is this a George Floyd thing? Yeah. The courtyard is empty and silent. No one is willing to sit and chat in the cold November air.
話って何？
Apparently, I mean, it's psychological horror, apparently. But you haven't seen why yet, though. She sees the whole world as some sort of fucked up gore version, and everyone's just monsters to him. Because he got in a car accident or some shit, and he took experimental drugs, apparently. That's what we've established so far. And then randomly, he has sex with some random girl who's randomly in his house. I don't know. That's what happened so far. So what is it? Don't you remember? Yo almost blurts the question, but manages to keep her composure.
崎坂さん、最近ちょっと様子が変です。
そうか。まあ、あんな目にあった後だから。
Smells like it's nothing, but even that seems forced. He's even standing precisely one pace farther away from her than he used to.
本当にそれだけなんですか？
君にはそれだけじゃないように見えるのかい？
But manages to keep from flinching at the harshness of his tone.
何か我慢してるみたいに。
No, she's like 10 years old, and she's white. So she's the perfect girl for you. Rather than answer, Fuminori grinds his toe into the dead grass at his feet, fearing that her determination might flag Yo lest the words come as they may.
どうしようもないものを無理して壊れそうになるほど頑張って我慢してるみたいに。
True. Any realers? Any
今の
truers?
崎坂さんはそう見えます。
そうかい。
Literally me, bro. Oh, really? Fuminori mutters through the clenched teeth, no longer trying to deny it or change the topic. This is an even clearer signal of rejection than his prior evasiveness. But Yo's determination is strong. Today, at least, he won't back
友
down.
達ってこんな時のためにいると思うんです。ご家族のことは本当に残念だったと思います。でも崎坂さんは一人ぼっちじゃありません。トノオ君やオウミちゃんや私がいます。
Yo can no longer stop the words pouring from her lips. She fears that if she does not unleash her feelings now, they will be lost forever.
一人で背負い込んだりしなくても私たちで何とかできることだってあると思うんです。たとえ何もできないにしても話してさえくれればあなたが少しでも楽になるかもしれない。私、崎坂さんの力になりたいんです。他のみんなも同じ気持ちだと。
やめてくれ。
Yamete kure! Fuminori shouts, silencing Yo's entreaty. She promised herself that she wouldn't back down, but Fuminori's expression is terrible enough to shatter her resolve. The look in his eyes is not anger, or any warm-blooded emotion. It is hate. Murderously cold hate.
そういえば君には一つ返事しなきゃいけない要件があったね。
She remembers. She remembers, and still he has treated her so coldly. That is all the answer she needs. If his words step any deeper, she might very well die.
とりわけ特別に意識したことなんてなかった。僕が君のことどう思ってるのか。でもね、今ではもう筑波さん。
Oh.
あんたのことが大嫌いだ。顔も見たくない。
Don't cry, Yo tells herself, but too late to stop the tears from pouring from her eyes.
もう二度と会いたくないっていうのは無理だね。同じ学校に通ってるんだし。だからせめて今後は僕に声をかけないでくれないか。
Yo whispers in shock and despair, at which Fuminori twists his lips into a malevolent smile.
君さ、少しは頭を冷やした方が良かったんだよ。どうせ大宮浩二にけしかけられてその気になってただけなんだろ。自分一人でのぼせてる分には勝手だけどさ、他人を巻き込むなって言うんだ。
So all Yo can take, even after shedding tears in front of him, she absolutely refuses to let him hear her cry. Any disgrace would be preferable to breaking down here. So she runs, fleeing breathlessly from the courtyard with Fuminori's cold smile at her back. Omi was the first to catch sight of Yo and Fuminori leaving for the courtyard. Blocking to interrupt them, but still unwilling to leave them alone, she and Cody ended up watching the whole thing from the shadows. Throughout the exchange, Omi was clearly itching to jump out and punch Fuminori in the face. Knowing her temper, Cody kept firm hold of her arm until the end. If he hadn't, she might very well have done it. Fuminori leaves after Yo, his every step seeming to take an act of willpower. Cody sighs heavily into the once more empty courtyard, but the bitter taste in his mouth will not go away.
どうしちまったんだかな、あいつは。
When Koji cannot forgive Fuminori's treatment of Yo, however, the first thing that he feels is confusion, not anger. Koji has known Fuminori since long before college. Fuminori was never this cruel before. There's no question now that the accident has changed him.
ねえ、コージ。このまま放っておくつもり？
You're just gonna let this go?
放っておきたくないにしたって、俺たちに何ができる？
覗き見よりマシなことよ。
Omi shouts, her face red with fury.
崎坂君に一言言ってやらなきゃ気が済まないわ。
それで筑波の気が晴れるってもんでもないだろうに。
だったら私のキーだけでも晴らすわよ。
Yo and Omi are best friends, just like Koji and Fuminori. In fact, there was the relationship between Koji and Omi that brought the other two together. Omi's anger is only natural.
私、崎坂君と二人だけで話してみた。
本気かよ。
その代わり、泣き終わった後で誰かの優しさが。
なあ、それって俺。
私みたいな性格だとね。
なるほど。
あ、
じゃあまあ、そっちはほどほどにしとけよな。
Ending the conversation before Omi's mood gets any worse, Koji heads off to find Yo. I feel awful, miserable, but also refreshed to finally cross the line. It would come crashing down like this sooner or later, having become unable to feel anything but disgust for other people. There was no way I could hope to maintain the relationships I had before the accident. Today's incidents will definitely get back to Koji and Omi, and everyone will be convinced I've had a major change of character. Honestly, I don't care anymore. At least I probably won't be committed for this. I just need to avoid acting any stranger than I already have. It just puts a rift between me and the others. Good. The thought of all the stress I'll avoid brings a smile on my lips. I'm fed up with them sticking the nose into my life. It's like they don't care. They make my gut turn by being near me. I've been terrified of them until now, but I struck fear into one of them. In that sense, it's something of a relief, but I'm not entirely without remorse for what happened. The person I just demolished with the verbal equivalent of a nuclear bomb used to be my friend Yo. Even if my senses don't believe it, my mind accepts the theory. I don't have any particular grudge against Yo herself, and I didn't want to hurt her. In retrospect, perhaps I should have just ignored her outright. Yo was an attractive girl. I certainly didn't think badly of her. To be honest, though, I was annoyed when Koji and Omi tried to stick us together. I felt like they were using us as entertainment, and Yo seemed totally oblivious to the fact that she was dancing to their tune. Her cluelessness was irritating. Still, I knew that none of them meant any harm back then, and I didn't have any reason to hurt others just to get my way. Having a casual relationship with Yo would keep our circle of friends together. I was willing to make that compromise. Compromise? You want compromise? How's this? "20 years playing Song of Saya. I wanted to see sex scenes. I compromised. I goat cheese off the radiator instead. Now, however, there's no room in my heart for such forbearance. If merely talking to someone is an ordeal, then how can I be expected to show them kindness? These ruminations have left me exhausted. I want to return to Saya as soon as possible, but thinking about the packed trains and crowded downtown streets between here and home saps my spirit. Catching sight of a nearby bench, I sit down and close my eyes to the horrors of the world. I can't do anything about the stink of the noise, but at least I can calm my nerves enough to rest. When I regained consciousness in the T University Hospital ward, the world was as dark as it is now. I had not yet recovered my sight, even though my eyes and optical nerves were undamaged. It must have been an after effect of the accident. Blindness was a shock, but now I know that my suffering then was nothing. After all, my senses of hearing, touch, taste, and smell were all fine at the time. Real horror began when my sight returned. One small mercy was that I was able to come to terms with the accident and my neurosurgery while still blind. Panic when I first saw the Nightmares Hospital and the blood-curdling shapes of the doctors and nurses, but I soon guessed the cause. It chills me to think of what might have happened if I had recovered my sight along with my consciousness. Suddenly awakening in what can only be described as hell, I would no doubt have lost my mind instantly. My disorder spread to the senses of touch, taste, and smell. As it turns out, sight exerts tremendous influence over the other four. The taste of my food, the feel of my bed sheets, the fragrance of get-well flowers, all became as unbearably foul as my eyes said they should be. Eventually, when the doctor's voices became unrecognizable as human, I decided to kill myself. I didn't believe for a second that I could live in this new world. It was not until I met Saya. One night, while thinking of a painless way to die, I found myself succumbing to sleep, drifting between the nightmares in my dreams and the nightmare of reality. I didn't notice her enter my room. Next thing I knew, there was a face staring down at me next to my bed. The face was not covered in pus or slime or earthworm-like feelers. It had smooth white cheeks, round eyes, a lovely little nose, all things I had never expected to see again. The face was that of a girl, undeniably human and positively glowing with beauty. I remember that one. I sighed in admiration, savoring the first piece of joy since regaining my sight. She had not expected such a reaction, apparently. She asked. Looking at the clock, I saw that it was exactly 3 in the morning. 3 o'clock, Polly. 3 o'clock. Polly. Aren't you afraid of me? She asked. Looking at the clock, I saw that it was exactly 3 in the morning. No time for a young girl to be alone in the hospital. Perhaps she expected me to mistake her for a ghost. I would not have cared if she had been a ghost. Either way, she was a godsend. Who are you? What are you doing here? Saya? looking for my dad. I can be your daddy. Assumed she was daughter of a late shift doctor or another patient. It was unusual but not unthinkable for such a girl wandering around the hospital.
あなた怖がらないんじゃつまらない。
It's no fun if you're not scared.
ちょっと
Wait, I cried, desperate to keep her from leaving. It was only after she turned around that I realized I hadn't thought of what to say next. Beautiful eyes drew me in, healing my soul to its core. Through the white haze, clouding my mind, I struggled to form a coherent sentence.
女の子にお願いしていいことじゃないんだから今君にしか頼めない
No longer concerned with propriety, I let the words come as they will. Will you let me hold your
も
hand?
らえないだろうか
So I looked confused at first, but then she smiled like she just found a new toy. Her smile was brighter than my memories of the sun.
そんなこと言い出したのあなたが初めて。
Lewd hand-holding. Ever so carefully, as though catching snowflakes, I placed my palm against hers. I could feel her human warmth and the softness of her delicate fingers. She was there, just beyond the palm of my hand. Thinking back on the joyful tears I shed then, I know that this is the moment I was saved from my fate.
この半月の間に
This is the first time in weeks that I've touched someone and felt them as human.
は
他の人じゃダメなんだ僕事故に
あなたって面白い。明日の夜もまた来ていい？
あそりゃもう
大丈夫よ。夜は私のものだから。
So our rendezvous began. So I came to my room every night at 3 a.m., skillfully taking advantage of the duty nurse shift change. 3 o'clock. This is some satanic black magic. Sick shit. Fucking queers.
You're such a fucking black knight.
Whoa. I was astonished to learn that she was living inside the hospital.
これだけ広いと隠れる場所には事欠かないから。
She said, answering my surprise with a nonchalant smile. Been living in the suburbs with her father, she told me, until that one day she had suddenly stopped coming home. After she had tired of waiting, Saya had decided one night to sneak into the hospital where he had worked. There she had lived for over 2 months, looking for his whereabouts all the while.
学校には行かなくていいのかい
2 months ago, he just randomly disappeared.
いいの。勉強は全部パパに教えてもらったから。さやはとっても頭がいいんだよ。
She was a strange girl. On the one hand, she looked and acted like a child. On the other, she was remarkably self-reliant, and at times exhibited a sharp intelligence and deep knowledge that many may have found unsettling. I didn't care. Saya was the only other human in the world gone mad. In a world gone mad. Her existence meant far more to me than the standards of society.
危なくないのか
Aren't you worried you might
見
get
つかりそう
caught?
になった
全然平気。ここにいれば食べるものにも不自由しないし、入院してる患者さんたちのうち、ちょっと精神的に参ってそうな人。
Saya continued grinning mischievously.
真夜中に忍び込んで脅かしたりするの。その人が大騒ぎしても、そういう患者さんの言うことはみんな真に受けたりしないから、結局は悪い夢ってこと
But she probably
見られ
is.
ちゃうし。
The confession reminded me that the hospital was famous for its ghost stories. Who could have imagined that there was actually a real girl impishly roaming these hallways?
僕も最初
ごめんね。
While her pranks were hardly praiseworthy, I couldn't bring myself to scold her for the very thing that had brought us together.
もうやらない方がいいその代わり夜は僕の話し相手になってくれないか
Exactly. How did you know?
さやもその方が楽しい。
Dude, that's how I look when I bed rot. This is literally me. That's how I look when I doom scroll on TikTok. With extreme care, I was able to conceal my sensory disorder. So true. It was glaringly obvious that the doctors had no way to cure me, and the fact that I had undergone a still experimental procedure made me even more cautious. As a medical student, it was easy for me to imagine how the doctors would react if they discovered that I was exhibiting such unusual side effects. I was not about to become a guinea pig, a mere specimen to be examined with clinical detachment. And so I hid my discomfort and loathing behind a mask of normalcy, convincing the doctors that any signs of stress were merely a result of hospitalization. Saya was my support, looking forward to her nightly visits, gave me the strength to endure my daily torture. I hope I can make an enormous difference in a patient's progress. With the aid of my secret nurse, I covered at a pace that left the doctor stunned. Are we about to get a sex scene? On the last night up before release, I sent my curtains and asked her, "You gonna stay here forever?" Yeah, I couldn't learn anything about my dad, but it's not like I have anywhere else to go. I guess I'll stay as long as I can hide. In other words, there was nothing keeping her there. I asked timidly. The question took all the courage I had. I was too afraid to ask her what she thought of that, so I hastily offered a deal. Saya said, looking a little embarrassed. Unable to control myself, I finally spoke the truth. At first she looked bewildered, but after a few moments of silence she said, "He's grooming a 12-year-old. That night she left my room earlier than usual. The day of my release, I managed to smile as I accepted the hideous, foul-smelling celebratory bouquet. The flesh beasts, calling themselves Koji, Omi, and Yo, came to pick me up. Though they had come to see me many times during my stay, it never got easier to see my friends change so horribly. Sudden tears of despair drew suspicion, but I managed to explain them away as tears of joy. When we walked to Koji's car, I looked desperately for Saya amid the grotesque scenery. Even as we drove away, I kept watching the hospital fade into the distance, praying for a last glimmer of hope. But Saya never appeared. After Koji and the others dropped me off, I paused a while to regard my surroundings. I lived my entire life on this block and this house. There was no other place that I could call home. But nothing was as I remembered. As I walked up the path to the front door and took in the yard where I'd spent my childhood, I can feel those memories being defiled by the twisted, festering shapes around me. Inside the house I found nothing familiar, nothing to offer me comfort and warmth. What I'd once called home was now a whole other world. Shalom. Exactly, Shalom. I have no home, I whispered with a smile of self-pity. There was one last stop to make, one last nail to hammer into my coffin. I stepped into a room that had cradled me from childhood. The walls were papered with human entrails, the bed a tangled mess of worm flesh. But none of that mattered. There, curled up on the bed, like an abandoned cat, was Saya. I stood there in shock. She looked up at me and in a tiny, weak voice said, I responded by sweeping her into my arms, embracing her tightly so that she would not escape. Saya did not resist. When she arrives at the Sakisaka house, Omi first takes a deep breath to calm herself. Okay, so we're back to the now. Anger does not vanish entirely, of course, but at least now she can hear herself think. While waiting for a response from the intercom, she looks over the patch of yard that she can see from outside the gate. Even Omi isn't normally one to complain about other people's housekeeping, but this has gone too far. Grass is growing wild and there are piles of dead leaves scattered everywhere. It doesn't just look untended, it looks like an uninhabited ruin. Still light up, but every window has its storm shutters tightly sealed. Omi guesses that they've been closed since morning. What kind of life is Fuminori leading? Even if he's living alone, he can't neglect his housework forever. It's just her imagination, or does something stink like rotten meat? It couldn't be coming from the yard, could it? There's still no response, so she presses the buzzer a second time, and a third, and a fourth. Finally, after this has gone on for over 10 minutes, Omi loses her patience and opens the cover of the intercom. As he expected, the power has been disconnected. Perhaps Fuminori has a good reason for shutting out the world, but Omi can only see it as a lack of respect for others. Anger rekindled, she pushes the gate open and stomps through the yard to the front door. Given the state of his intercom, she doubts if Fuminori will respond to a knock, so Omi decides to just open the door and go in shouting, and if the door is locked, she'll just have to... Pressing the doorknob turns easily in her hand, and the enraged Omi finds herself throwing the door open wider than she intended. Her nostrils are instantly assaulted by a choking stench. What the fuck? What is that smell? As Omi stands petrified on the threshold, the cowbell hanging on the inside of the door chimes loudly. A moment later... Welcome home. Omi can't believe her ears. The voice she just heard could not have been human, yet its intonations were too complex for any animal she can imagine. Someone there, she calls out to the end of the hallway from which the voice came. There's no response. Why is she seeing things now? Finding it difficult to place a meaningful image to the voice she just heard, Omi stares blankly at the empty vestibule. There's nothing there, not even Fuminori's shoes, which can only mean that he's still outside somewhere wearing them. So Saya looks like that to other people? The house should be empty, but then what was that voice just now? Her anchor has vanished as if it were never there. Nevertheless, Omi sets foot into the hallway, leaving the door open so that the cowbell won't ring. Foot creaks, setting her nerves on edge. Omi isn't sure why she's acting like a burglar, but something tells her that to make as little noise as possible. Monka Omega. The potency of the stink inside the house makes the whiff she caught outside pale in comparison. It's sickening, like rotten fish guts. Has food been left to spoil in the kitchen? She hears the bubbling sound up ahead. Stepping gingerly on the creaking floorboards, Omi makes her way to the end of the hallway. She finds rooms to both sides of her, one lit, the other dark, and chooses to look into the lit room. It's the kitchen, lit by what must be the only window in the house, not covered by a storm shutter. The sound she heard was the pot boiling on the stove, and on the chopping board next to it lie a butcher's knife and some half-diced carrots. A perfectly normal household scene, with the light of the setting sun making everything the color of decomposing fruit. Something is wrong. Who's cooking here and where did they go? Darika! Omi calls, regretting it immediately as she realizes that her voice is shaking. As the words echo vainly through the silent house, she begins to feel foolish and defenseless. Suddenly she feels something cold seeping through her pantyhose. She timidly reaches down to touch her feet. Her fingertips come away covered with a vicious olive-green slime, with the filthy water from a tank long clogged with algae and dead fish. The whole floor is covered with it. It must be the source of the stench. Omi now wishes that she had worn shoes inside. Manners be damned. When she looks back ruefully the way she came, she realizes that her current position is not visible from the entrance. This kitchen must be where that strange voice came from. The next room is probably the den. As she expected from the closed storm shutters, it's pitch black inside. Omi wants nothing more than to flee this house, but that would mean turning her back to the darkness. And that she simply cannot bring herself to do. Moved by some irrational compulsion, Omi sets foot into the den. It's too dark to see anything, and the stink is far worse than before. She slides her hand along the wall, feeling for the light switch. Finding it much sooner than expected, she flips it on like it's her last hope. The colors. So many colors. Purple of entrails, the brown of rotten meat, the crimson of fresh blood, the yellow of fat. These colors and more that cannot be described cover every inch of the room in maddening array. The colors say all that needs to be said about the painter's hatred, malice, and insanity. Omi's legs give out from the shock, sending her to the floor. Slime immediately soaks through her jeans. Its cold tendrils creeping up her legs, crotch, and her neck. Her hand flies to her neck, where it is greeted by another drop of chilly slime. Above her, something is dripping down on her head. Making perhaps the worst decision of her life, Omi looks up. The predator clinging to the ceiling, poised to leap upon its prey, she sees in every detail. Her mouth and nose are sealed before she can scream, and her belly is torn open as something enters to feast on her innards. But by the time she feels any of this, Omi has already gone mad. Monka Omega. Saya? Monka S? I bit the bullet and tried to take the train, but the rush hour crowds were so bad that I had to get off the hallway and walk. Running pretty late. Is Saya worried? I hope she's not mad. When I enter the yard, I realize the front door has been left wide open. Light from the living room is seeping out into the hallway, and I hear what sounds like someone smacking their lips. There's also a tantalizing fragrance in there. Saya, I consider calling out to her, but decide to enter in silence. It smells strange, though not unpleasant. The aroma is quite soothing, in fact. It reminds me of Saya's hair. First, I'm surprised by what I see in the living room. The floor is covered in what looks like some kind of grass. Probably a source of herb-like smell, and there are fruit and vegetable-like balls of varying size scattered everywhere.
Saya.
I'll click the Instagram links later. I saw it. Saya turns around, her eyes wide with surprise. She then looks away sheepishly like a child caught at some prank. What are you eating? She stammers, so flustered that I suddenly feel bad for sneaking up on her. Remembering that she has never eaten in front of me before, I realize that she must be quite embarrassed. I scoop up the closest fruit thing and pop it into my mouth, ignoring Saya's attempt to wake me off. It's a strange texture, soft and pliable, like a peach or a pear. When I bite into it with my back teeth, the succulent juice fills my mouth, combined with a sharp, strong fragrance. It's unlike anything I've ever tasted. How'd you make this? What did you use? It wasn't hard, I just took it apart and melted it a little to make it easier to eat. It's practically raw. I pick up a different lump, this one consisting of fruity flesh around the hard core. Tearing a chunk off in my mouth, I find that it has a similar taste to the last one. Even I can eat this. First Saya looks dumbstruck, but then she burst out laughing. Baka mitai. Dame dame dame. There's an impressive nature preserve not too far from here. I never heard about fruits like these growing there, but well, of course. They only look like fruits to me. They're really something else. Saya seems really happy. I'm happy too, of course. Eating with someone is much more fun than eating alone, and it makes the food taste better too. Eating the small fruits in Tupperware and the large ones in pots and bowls, Saya and I store the remaining food in the refrigerator. Thinking of tomorrow's dinner fills me with anticipation. I feel that little by little, I'm starting to regain the joy of living. Saya will guide me, with her I can live on. Oh my god, they're eating people. True Scary Stories, Hospital Edition. What? Is he reading a story now? What the fuck? A medical student relates his shocking experiences. Will you believe him or not? Strange things started happening at the hospital around the end of last spring. So when the doctor appeared, began with patients waking up in the middle of the night screaming. They all spoke of terrifying nightmares, and many of them had to be sedated. Some patients even transferred to other hospitals because of it. Weird thing was that they had all had exactly the same dream. A dream about some horribly disgusting monster staring down them from their bedside. But the really strange stuff started happening after that. There used to be a lot of stray cats around campus, looking for scraps from the students. One day the cats suddenly disappeared, and it wasn't that they had stopped coming, it was more like they'd vanished from the area entirely. When people stopped walking their dogs around, according to rumors, the dogs were refusing to go anywhere near the school. Eventually things started going missing in the hospital. Organs, to be precise. Transplant organs kept disappearing from storage. People came close to losing their jobs over it, and it wasn't just 2 or 3 times that it happened. They tried to keep it from the students, but we heard it was a lot worse than that. People started saying that there was somebody living in the hospital. The janitors would find strange messes that could only have been made in the middle of the night. Traces of something that had crawled down the hallway, or weird stains caused by something dripping through the ceiling. Late shift nurses talked about hearing strange noises on the same nights that patients woke screaming. There's one last story, one you can never mention inside the hospital. One day, the obstetrics department went crazy. They said that a newborn had disappeared in the night. If that were true, the police would have come and it would have been all over the news, but they say the big shots managed to make it all go away. It's just a rumor, of course. Cap. These strange incidents suddenly stopped toward the end of summer. Now there are almost no patients complaining of nightmares, and the cats have started coming back to campus. But still, what happened in the hospital that summer, even now, just thinking about it gives me the creeps.
ダメだ。
ご確認した電話は電波の届かない場所にあるか、電源が入っていないため。
It's the third day in a row they haven't been able to get in touch with Omi. There's no sign that she returned to her apartment, and even her family doesn't know anything. Her parents have already filed a missing person report.
まあ、あいつのことだからな。何事もなかったみたいに。
だといいけど。
Yo replies with a gloomy expression. She's worried about Omi, of course, but the incident with Fuminori 3 days ago must still be weighing on her as well. She hasn't seen Fuminori since then. And Fuminori hasn't made any effort to approach her or Koji. 4 people used to meet in this cafeteria between classes, but now there are only 2. 2 left.
ねえ、トノくん、もう一度考えてみよう。
いや、一通りは確かめ。
Koji answers evasively. It's a lie, of course. Koji knows where Omi planned to go that evening, but doesn't want to bring Fuminori up in front of Yo. The awkward silence is mercifully broken by the bell signaling at the start of the next period. Well, I've gotta go. Unless Koji's mistaken, Yo is supposed to have class next period too, but she just sits there, staring off into space. Able to come up with anything, so they leaves the cafeteria reluctantly. Both Omi's disappearance and Yo's depression worried Koji, and both problems lead back to the exact same place.
みのりは一体。
What the hell is Fuminori doing? Nomi went missing. The first thing he did was question Fuminori. After all, the last time he had seen her was just before she stormed off to give Fuminori a piece of her mind. Fuminori responded with unequivocal denial and acted like he hadn't the slightest idea why Omi would have gone to see him. Perhaps that was only natural, as he was unaware that Omi and Koji had witnessed him reduce Yo to tears. Did Omi even make it to Fuminori's house? She had been riding a wave of emotion when she had left. It might have calmed down and changed her mind halfway there. Perhaps he ran into trouble. But he concluded, or more accurately convinced himself, that one of these possibilities was the truth, consciously denying the one remaining possibility that Fuminori was lying, that he had met Omi and was involved with her disappearance. When questioned by the police, Koji told the truth about Omi's destination only up to the train station, maintaining that he had no idea what she planned to go after that. Wanted to cooperate with the search, of course, but Omi couldn't have made it to Fuminori's house. Fuminori said so himself, didn't he? In that case, he had told the police everything they needed to know. I wanted to get the still fragile Fuminori involved. He forced himself to accept this flimsy logic. But the conflict has built up inside of him, without his notice, leaving unanswered suspicion to fester in his mind. Koji's deep in thought, paying no attention to his surroundings, but perhaps that is what allows him to catch sight of his friends back through the crowd of milling students. At first, Koji assumes that he's headed to the lecture hall, but it soon appears that he's instead going home. His medical students have required courses in the afternoon. Though he's initially surprised, Koji's hesitation lasts for only a second. He follows his friend, taking care to stay far enough behind that he won't be noticed. Fuminori wasn't going home, as became obvious when he boarded a train heading in the opposite direction. Koji's next guess was that he was going to see his doctor at the Phi University Hospital. Fuminori rode straight through the closest station.
どこに向かってる?
First, Koji felt ashamed for tailing his friend like this, but his conscience fell silent as Fuminori's actions grew more mysterious. Stranger guess, the closer Koji feels to discovering the truth behind Fuminori's sudden transformation, any knowledge would be welcome, no matter how slight. The lion always commits medical malpractice. So true. Koji's beginning to think that there must be more behind Fuminori's change. An accident alone, he wants a more satisfying answer, one that will help him decide whether Fuminori can still be trusted. Fuminori gets off at a small station in a nondescript suburb of Tokyo. Koji follows trying not to lose sight of him amid the other disembarking passengers. The area is quite desolate, with only a small bookstore, a convenience store, and a market in front of the train station. It's easy for Koji to keep Fuminori in view. His neighborhood was carved out of the Fuji foothills, and here and there remain steep inclines and wooded areas that escaped assimilation. Koji is amazed that such a quiet place exists less than an hour out of central Tokyo. Fuminori seems to know these streets. He moves quickly and purposefully through the suburban community, his eyes fixed straight ahead. Before long, Fuminori reaches the house. Without ringing the bell or even knocking, he opens the door and vanishes inside, leaving Koji to wonder how Fuminori can treat the houses as his own. The house. Oh, is he going to his dad's house? I was waiting to see Fuminori. At what? The lion quote? Oh. Waiting to see if Fuminori comes back. Could you approach the gate and check the nameplate? Oh, guy. Yeah, I called it. Wow, I'm so smart. Koji's never heard of anyone by that name among Fuminori's acquaintances. Next, his attention is drawn to the thick wad of leaflets sticking out of the mail slot. This, coupled with the general dilapidated feel of the place, suggests that it has been abandoned for some time. A small playground about 2 blocks away provides an adequate vantage point from which to watch the front of the Ogai home. Fortunately, it does not appear to be the sort of house that has a rear exit. Koji settles down on a bench to begin his stakeout. I should have brought more smokes. 1 hour passes and then another, but there remains no sign of movement around the Ogai residence. Soon twilight settles upon the neighborhood. After Koji's 1 pack of cigarettes run out, stakeout becomes a battle against mounting impatience. This time by redialing Omi on his cell, sending her short text messages. His efforts were futile, as he knew they would be. The sky begins to turn deep blue and the streetlights come on. Fuminori finally emerges from the house and heads back toward the station with the same hurried stride. After some brief consideration, Koji decides that right now investigating the house is more important than tailing Fuminori. Rings the doorbell just to make sure. After receiving the expected silence and response, he checks to make sure no one is watching and turns the doorknob. The door is not locked. Fuminori has been in here for an hour. When he enters the house, stale air thick with mold and dust fills Koji's nostrils. It is the unmistakable smell of a house that has long lain untouched. There's also a faint hint of something else in the air, something reminiscent of damp sewers and fetid? What does that mean? Unpleasant smelling. So like, basically just said the sewer smells twice. Alright, enjoy the food. Honestly, getting kinda hungry too. I haven't eaten a bit. I think it's been 7-8 hours. I don't know when it's a good time to stop though. I want to keep playing until I get to something. Yeah, I'll eat you out as well. I'm gonna keep playing until something happens, and then when that's over, I'm gonna take a break. Flipping the switch, light switch does nothing. The power must be cut off. But uses a cigarette lighter to illuminate the immediate area. I'm autistic. And the thick dust covering the floor, you see several brand new trails of footprints. They can only have been made by shoes from Minori's. Koji decides to follow suit and dispense with courtesy. He enters with his shoes on. Oh, my ass, bro. The lighter's flickering flame pushes back the deathly silence and gloom of the house. Koji is surprised to see evidence of life remaining. Everything from furniture to tableware and appliances. Nothing seems to be missing. The thickness of the dust suggests that the house has been empty for several months, which means that the owner must have left with little more than clothes on his back. Could he have gone on a long vacation? The calendar in the den is still turned to April. Empty and silent, yet still exhibiting signs of a life that was once lived there. The house reminds Koji of a passenger ship entombed at the bottom of the sea. In the graveyard-like quiet, a sinister thought suddenly enters his mind. No one is living here, but that does not have to mean that the owner left. Maybe he was murdered and his rotting corpse is right under Koji's feet. He found himself wanting a stronger light. A flashlight in his hand would make him feel much better. Wonka Omega. Am I about to be jump scared? Koji follows from Minori's footsteps to the second floor, where he begins to catch the scent of paper in the stale air. There's a smell of old books, instantly recognizable but to anyone who has worked in an antique bookstore or library. I'm taking my foot down the desk, just in case I jump. The first room on the second floor turns out to be a study. Its towering shelves packed with such a vast number of books that Koji fears for the stability of the floor. As a medical student himself, he is able to discern at a glance that this study belongs to a medical professional and a high-level one at that. Judging by the content of the books, a smorgasbord? What? Technical volumes far beyond a simple student's understanding. The owner's interests lie more with medical research than with clinical practice. Minori must have spent most of his time here. The scattered dust suggests that he was searching for something, and the contents of the desk drawers are in obvious disarray. Just saving this in case my game crashes. Minori must have spent his time here. Scattered dust suggests that he was searching for something, and the contents of the desk drawers are in obvious disarray. A small pile of books stacked on the side table catches his eye. Being next to the desk, they must have been the most frequently read. But nature could shed some light on the character of the person who worked there. Koji frowns as he examines the three books. These aren't scientific texts like the rest, but old, leather-bound Western tomes like the sort you would find in a rare bookstore. Titles are meaningless to him. Trait de chiffres appears to concern semiotics, but Ars Magna et Ultima. Some kind of treatise on divination. Then there's Voynich manuscript. Voynich. Which looked like some sort of picture book. When he pages through it, he finds the text utterly incomprehensible. Maybe it's some kind of cipher. Whatever they are, they clearly have nothing to do with medicine, refuting Koji's earlier guess that his old guy was a doctor. Looking down, Koji suddenly notices the glint of something black and metallic underneath the chair. A pocket-sized flashlight, quite out of place among all of these dusty books. Fuminori must have brought it in. What happened to Fuminori then? With relief, Koji exchanges his lighter for the flashlight. Its tiny body emits a powerful white beam that casts away the darkness. His courage restored, he decides to explore the rest of the house.
Hmm?
Koji notices something strange, something that was not visible in the light's weak flame. The slime. Dark, oily stains are everywhere. The stains are especially thick around the doorknobs and stair banisters. Someone grasps them with hands wrapped in greasy cloth. Looking closer, he sees places where slime was splashed low on the walls, almost as if a wet mop was run violently across the floor. Could Ogai have made these marks? If so, how? Koji begins to feel sick as he imagines a man shambling through the house with slime dripping from his body. Boom! Finding a bedroom next to the study, Koji checks the closet on a hunch. Scrubs 2 empty suitcases. Welcome black. Not what one would leave behind when going on a long vacation. A sudden chill runs through him. Whoever was living here is still somewhere inside this house. He's in the suitcase. Oh, never mind. He said they're empty. Suppressing the urge to flee, Koji goes back downstairs to check the first floor. If he finds a corpse, he'll have to call the police right away. He might get away with trespassing if he reports it first. But if they find the body later, it'll be awfully hard to explain his fingerprints all over the house. Flashlight reveals a den to be covered in even more slime than the rest of the house. The sofa looks as though it was dredged from the bottom of a swamp. In the kitchen, Koji takes one look at the sink and decides to not get any closer. He doesn't want any more fuel for his imagination. He reaches the door to the bathroom. A common scene from TV dramas flashes through his head. A body with slit wrist floating in a bathtub full of water. Wasn't there a movie where a hitman disposes of his victim in a bathtub filled with lye? Koji braces himself for the worst and opens the door slowly, then shines his light into the ceramic bathtub that appears from the darkness like a white ghost. A mound of bones, black with dry flesh and blood. Koji puts one hand against the wall to steady himself as his legs threaten to buckle. Something is wrong, and he realizes as he tries to desperately get his faults in order. Suicide is not funny, bro. Bones are too small and there are too many of them. They aren't human. Those are the cats. Oh, someone's gonna be behind them. Someone's gonna be behind them. After taking several deep breaths to calm himself, Koji enters the bathroom and examines at the top. The bones are piled atop each other like fallen leaves. They appear to be from small animals, perhaps cats or dogs. Hey guys, I guess that's it. Even so, the quantity is mind-boggling. How many bodies would it take to produce this many bones? The bones have all been separated from one another, so it doesn't look like bodies were just thrown into the top and left to rot. Each bone is covered with deep grooves, marks left by teeth biting through flesh. Koji's sanity won't let him consider the possibility that a human could have done this. The owner of this house must keep some sort of carnivorous animal as a pet, giving it the bones of small animals to eat and disposing of the remains in a bathtub. But why not dispose of leftovers properly? Could have been thrown out with the garbage, or was there something keeping him from leaving the house? The relief Koji felt when he realized that the bones weren't human is once again under attack. In the first place, what the hell was Fuminori doing here?
どうしたコウジ
Toshita, Koji. Koji was around, his light revealing Fuminori's expressionless face.
不法侵入だぞコウジ
Hold on. Yeah, I always think about that when I hear this song. Koji was around his light, revealing from Minori's expression of facial
お前だ
trespassing.
って同じだろうが。
Koji replies, barely managing to speak over the pounding of his heart. Fuminori pushes past Koji and looks into the bathtub. He doesn't even flinch at the sight of the bones.
僕はこの家の人と知り合いなんだ。
I don't mind lives here, I'm just running an errand. What? Who is this person? Where do you meet them?
一体何者なんだ。
Koji doesn't want to believe that their old friendly Fuminori could have had contact with the denizens of
い
his
ずれお
house.
前にも紹介するよ。
He says, turning to leave, without even a glance at Koji. Over my life.
おい、文則。
Koji runs after Fuminori. His heart is finally beating normally again.
お前まさか近頃様子がおかしいのはその知り合いっていうやつのせいなんじゃ。
Standing in the entrance, Fuminori glares coldly at Koji over his shoulder. The utter lack of emotion in his eyes gives
僕の
Koji
後を
pause.
つけてきたんだね、コウジ。そういうのは迷惑だ。
ああ。
Fuminori walks away without another word, leaving Koji alone in the entrance. Up until this very moment, concern for his friend was still at the forefront of his mind. Now, however, that concern is swiftly giving way to a growing sense of dread. Does the Fuminori he knew no longer exist? Was the person who just stared Koji down an imposter wearing Fuminori's skin? Koji has begun to believe that it might be so. What a nuisance. Why does he insist on interfering? When he spoke with me to exchange pleasantries, even I could bear it. Now he's sticking his nose into my business just to satisfy his curiosity. Koji's a perfect example of someone who thinks that it's always good to take an interest in other people's affairs. He probably thinks that he's doing me a favor by prying into my life. He couldn't be more wrong. Why? So you can drink? I mean, that's up to you if you want it, right? If he keeps this up, I might have to find some way to deal with him. Sure, man. It's weekend, so why not? Like Saya said, I have to keep my search for Dr. Ogai a secret. Koji could ruin everything. I didn't have time to fully investigate the Ogai residence today. At this rate, it will probably take several days for it to go through the study. So I didn't believe that I'd find anything to help with the search, but I think there's still a lot to explore. Who knows what I'll discover. The problem is Cody, he knows about the house now. Will he make things difficult? Excuse me, a hair-raising voice calls as I'm about to pass through the gate. Pressing a shutter, put on a fake smile and turn to face the writhing mass of rotten flesh that is staring at me with bulging eyes. Good evening, are you just getting home? Yes, I am. Of course, my next-door neighbor, Susumi, a middle-aged painter. He spends all day at home while his wife works. I haven't had much contact with him since the accident. Why is he suddenly talking to me now? You gotten used to living alone? It must be very difficult, but you're still young. You have to try to move on with life. Yeah. What is this? Did he stop me to deliver a lecture? Oh god, is it this? I have the uncensored version. I don't know if you can go back in the VOD if you want to see, you know. I didn't realize that there was actually gonna be, you know, hentai scenes with a 10-year-old girl. I thought there was just gonna be like a bath scene. That's such a big house, it must be hard to take care of everything by yourself. Yes, I suppose it is rather difficult. Alright, caretaker, dispense, flesh beast, undulates foully, as though it has something to say. The sight of it is driving me close to the edge. So don't you think you should at least tend to your yard? I'd be happy to help. I think I mentioned my own. Now I get it, he's worried about the unsightliness of my house. Might diminish the image of his own. Damn snub. If I should token smile and retreat behind the safety of my gate, I can feel Suzumi's eyes boring into my back all the way to the front door. Why won't everyone stay out of my life? I want to live alone together with Saya. Alone where no one will ever bother us. Alright, good luck. Skull emoji's too early for this, for me. Did you watch or play the uncensored version? Where you can literally see him penetrating the 10-year-old? Thank you. I'm probably only gonna play 15-20 more minutes. I'm gonna order food like right now. You never played this? Oh. Maybe you wanna start over? Like not watch this, I mean. It's not that long. I think it's only like 5-6 hours. In case you don't wanna get spoiled, I mean. I'm gonna order food real quick, so give me 1 second. Door run. Me too. Uno momento. Sorry. Holy fuck, it's so hot in my room. Got an order from my sister. Holy fuck. Alright. I think this is it. I gotta calculate my price. Sorry about this, by the way. Do. Alright. Oh, my ass. I hope everyone didn't leave. And by everyone, I mean number 9. I hope you didn't leave. Tsuzumi Yosuke sighs and annoyance as he watches the neighbor boy retreat into his house. What's with his attitude? Even while talking, he kept his eyes averted as if to avoid looking at something repulsive. Has he always been such an unpleasant young man? No, of course not. When his parents were still alive, he had been a normal youth, a little shy but sensitive and caring. Are you still there, Mr. Noam? Must be the stress of his sad situation. If he continues to build, he might start to develop serious mental problems. Is it too late already? Yosuke wonders as he gazes warily at this Sakisaka yard. I'm gonna keep playing for like 10, maybe 15 minutes. If there's a good stopping point or you think I should stop at, let me know. Because I don't want to start something like and have to leave in the middle of a cool scene. So like if you think I should stop right now, let me know. Even during dinner, Yosuke can't shake the neighboring house from his mind.
どうしたのあなた。難しそうな顔して。
What's wrong? Honey, you look like something's bothering you. Yeah, I saw the young man from next door today.
隣のって文則お兄ちゃん？
ああ、庭のこと一言言っておいた。
I have to say something about his yard.
せめてあの匂いだけはどうにかしてもらいたいわよね。
What the fuck? My game, not my game, my OBS didn't show. I'm looking at the chat, I can see you wrote something and I couldn't see you write that for some reason. But do you think you can finish the game today? That didn't pop up on my OBS, just so you know that I'm not ignoring you. Do I think I can finish it? I mean, I don't know how far I am. If I'm not too tired or gonna play something else with a friend, like World of Warcraft with Lionett, if he's on, because he had a bad day apparently, so I wanna, you know, support him and have fun. If I don't do that, then I'll probably come back on and play the rest. This thing coming from the Sakisaka house grows worse each day, and the Susumi family is at its wit's end.
あの草むらの中に死んだ猫でもいるんじゃないかしら。でも住んでいて気づかないのかしらね。あの匂いに。
Yeah, he's a Danish guy I know in real life who smokes a lot, yeah.
まさかとは思うが、生ゴミをそのまま庭に捨てているんじゃあるまいな。
そんな、いくらなんでもそこまで。
いや、今の様子だとやりかねん。一日中ずっと雨戸を閉め切って何をやってるのかもわからない。どういう暮らしをしてるのやら。
お兄ちゃん。これヒロミ。そういう言い方はダメよ。
いや、あれは本当にちょっとどうすぎてる。ひょっとしたら。
大丈夫なのそれ。
早く自覚して医者にでも行ってもらわんことにはなんともな。
Oh, I'm ready to... The seconds crawled by each tick of the clock, compounding my agony. When I returned from the Ogai residence, I was greeted by a silent, empty home. Saya had vanished without leaving any clues to her whereabouts. It isn't rare for her to go for walks at night. I've often gone with her, however such outings always take place in the middle of the night when no one is around and never last for more than 2 hours. Right now it's 5 in the morning. Soon the sky will begin to show the first light of dawn. Even if she left right before I returned, she's still been gone for almost half a day. Heck yeah, someone accepted my order. I can't sleep. I can only wait in anguish. I tried to distract myself by painting more rooms, but I couldn't concentrate on the work. If I'd known this would happen, I would have left the Ogai house sooner. I wish I hadn't wasted time on Koji. If Saya doesn't return, the thought makes me want to tear out my hair after its long absence. The terror of true loneliness is too much to bear. Too real. Last the cowbell chimes and Saya's long-awaited "Tadaima" rings out from the bottom of the stairs. As I jump out of my bed in relief, all of the stress that has built up through the night is released in a wave that threatens to sweep me off my feet. Ah, so tired. Saya sighs as she climbs the stairs. I knew the trip would be hard. Saya. Okay. Can I just save before it and then do it? I'm assuming there's like an option to do something, so I'll save before every option.
それは
What are those? Whose eyes are those?
文則のカルテとか手術の記録。今日は古巣の病院に行ってきたの。
In fact, I'm gonna save right now again. Open save. Save right here. Okay. I'm scared to click these. Why can't I just... Do I have to quick save? Oh, these are pages. Or what? Why's the data gone now? Oh, okay, I see. Confusing. Saya drops her bundles on the your medical chart and surgery records. I went back to the hospital today. Saya drops her bundles on the floor, sending paper flying everywhere. And pulls her favorite cushion over and collapses into it, stretching luxuriously.
夜中に T 台から歩いて戻ってきたのか。
ごめんね。本当はもっと早く帰れると思ってたんだけど。
ごめんね。
調べ出したらキリがなくて。
She says, skillfully gathering the scattered papers together. I meant to come back sooner, but there were so many files to go through.
結局全部持ち出してきちゃった。ああ、重かっ
だからそんなもの。
た。どうするって、もちろん調べるのよ。うちで時間かけてじっくり。
First I think she's playing around, but the occasional models have... Better check this RC. Well, that was silly of them. And the like, as she separates photos in a growing pile beside her, make me think that this might not be a joke after all.
わかるのか。
パパにいろいろと教わったから。これじゃいつまで経っても直せないよね。
直せないのか。
人間のお医者さんじゃね。
Not by a human doctor. Can't tell if she's being serious.
私でもまだちょっと難しいかな。いろいろと試してからでない。
She's gonna perform an surgery on me. Even for me, it'll probably be touch. I have to experiment. Watching more closely, I realized that her eyes were scanning each page rapidly, so rapidly in fact that I was unable to notice it at first. Would Saya actually be reading my charts? He answers coolly, looking up from the charts.
疲れたし。
文則がそうしたいならそうする。
Alright. Saya tosses aside the paper she was sorting, then leaps on me and begins to tear off my clothes.
おい。
Hey, come on, just once before bed, okay?
ね、いいでしょ?
Contrary to her appearance, Saya's appetite for sex would put any adult to shame. You could even say it's a little unnatural. She's not just passionate, she also has unlimited stamina, making me wonder where her slender body gets all the energy. Never satisfied with letting me feast on her to my heart's content. She always uses me to pleasure herself until I'm forced to tap out.
こう毎日続けてじゃ体に毒じゃないのか。
Hey Saya, don't you think it's unhealthy to be doing this every day? Are you sick? No, not me, my body's all grown up, but you're... Don't worry, she laughs playfully as she pushes me onto the bed, the familiar sweet sensation of her weight and skin rendering me helpless.
なわけないだろ。今まで否認もして
But
ない。
I am worried. We haven't used any contraception. To my astonishment, Saya is completely uninterested in safe sex. She doesn't just eschew protection, she even insists that I ejaculate inside of her. Surely she must know the risks, which can only mean that she wants to get pregnant.
文則はさ、さやに子供を産ませるの嫌?
You don't want me to have your children?
いやも何も。
Not that your body's too small. Pregnancy is a serious burden, you know.
文
Isn't really something you have to worry about. So I seems unsure how to reply, but not because she doesn't understand what I said. Rather, the amused look on her face makes it seem as though I'm the one not getting it. I know you're just thinking of me, she says suddenly, her smile glowing with innocence, so I'm happy. By the time I break the spell, I hope it's okay I'm not showing this, by the way, because if that goes on the thumbnail, my account's gonna get banned. I'll flash the scenes for you. So, she's removing my pants. Come on, Sai, relax, she says teasingly as she bears my crutch and wraps her slender white fingers around my pee-pee and testicles. Tonight I'll do it so you don't have to worry. Oh my god, bro. Okay, if you want to see this, look right now. I'm gonna flash it. The feeling of her willowy, unblemished fingers embracing me is enough to fill me with twisted ecstasy. And guard my male instincts.